it's Lizzie. So, do you guys notice anything? Anything different? I resurrected my zebra print backdrop. I'm really excited. If you've been watching my channel back from kind of like 2011 era up until a couple years ago, every single video I had my zebra print backdrop, and even when I moved to college I used my bedspread there as the background. And this is honestly, it's just like, yeah, it's just like a blanket. But a lot of people were always like, is that a wall? Like, did you paint your wall? Like, are you laying on your bed? Like, no, it's just like a comforter. But I was in my garage and I found it and I'm like, yes. You know that moment when you're talking to someone and you suddenly just have like, you know, your heart starts beating faster and it's almost like emergency and you're like, okay, this is awkward. If I don't say anything, change anything within the next second, like this is gonna be awful. This is my technique when meeting someone who I don't know and we're just like, okay, like let's talk to each other. So ask questions. Ask questions. Just keep asking questions. A lot of people are like, how are you? No, that will just cut off the conversation. You just have to be like, how was your day? What do you do? And then even if they had a really boring day, they're like, oh, I went to work. And then I'm like, oh, how was work? What do you do? I always ask people to explain what their job is. And I mean, personally, I just find it really fascinating. What I always ask is like, okay, so on a daily basis, like what are you doing when you're at work? And then just keep asking follow-up questions, asking them to like share details. I think this is partly because I definitely have like very strong introverted tendencies, and I've really like grown out of like, you know, like my shell of not wanting to talk to people I don't know. But I think until I was like 16, I was not comfortable talking to new people, and so I still think there's part of me that like doesn't like doing that. If I'm asking someone detailed questions, like, you know, like how was your day? What did you do today? Like what do you do at your job? And they're not giving me like detailed answers, then they feel a bit uncomfortable, and so I'll just start talking. If they ask me a question, like just start talking, sharing details more in depth. Mirror the other person in their eye contact. So if someone is like really intense eye contact, you need to be really intense eye contact back. You need to like hold their eye contact, even if it makes you nervous. Like, you know, occasionally look away or something if you're thinking, but you need to like pretty much balance that. Whereas if someone else is like looking at you and then like looking away sometimes, like do not just like, don't just laser focus onto their eyes, because then like every time they look back, you're there. And so I think people who look away more, they want to like chill, like calm down, not as intense of an environment, and so you need to match that. You need to be able to read people and match that. Something else that I think makes things less awkward for me that I do is I react to people like with my facial expressions, like laughing, smiling, and I just think it makes people feel immediately more comfortable rather than like, it makes it difficult to open up to people like that and talk to people like that. Smiling at someone just makes them feel more at ease, to just smile, try to be warm, don't be too posture, like be a little chill with your posture. And the other thing that really helps is not having to be like looking at each other directly. Like if it's possible to, you know, have like a table between you or to both be looking at something, try to find ways to not have to like be standing next to each other looking at each other. Like I had roommates over the weekend at this camp I was at, and it was so easy to talk to them when like they were on their bed, I was on my bed, I was just kind of lounging on a pillow, and you know, one of them was sort of looking down at her computer, and you know, that was like the least awkward situation because we didn't have to lock eye contact. We could just like both think and talk, and it was really comfortable. But this guy I was talking to was saying something about like, oh, it's because I'm awkward. And I was just thinking like, no, you're definitely not awkward. Like you're like the least awkward person. And so I think it's about not showing if you feel uncomfortable. And so for me, I rarely feel awkward even if I'm acting awkward or making other people feel awkward, because it's kind of like you need to like hide the fact that you feel uncomfortable. Like, yeah, I'm someone who I easily, like my face will show how I feel, but you know, you need to turn that off sometimes and just like have a blank facial expression. Don't like shifty eyes, just look straight at them, like stand up straight, just like don't show that you feel embarrassed, just like act confident. And then the other person even if they feel like it's awkward, they don't know that you know it's awkward, and so it's just not, you know, it's a more comfortable situation. But if you ever do stumble on your words or say the wrong thing, just like start laughing, be like, oh my gosh, like I did not mean that, or like, wow, I cannot talk right now. Just, you know, make fun of yourself and make fun of other people too, but you know, in a playful way. Like if you make fun of someone and you're laughing and you're smiling, then you just kind of play around with it and have fun with everything, then I think it diffuses it so well. A really good example of this is just now I was carpooling with people who I didn't know very well, and the music was really loud where I was sitting. It wasn't loud where the other people were sitting, and so sometimes they would say something like 3 times and I wouldn't hear it, and if I was just like, what, that would be awkward. But I was like laughing and smiling and like, what did you say? Like, I still can't hear you, like, what are you saying? And if you just make it into like a joke, then no one feels awkward about it. Humor in general is just really great for life and friendships, but especially like it gets rid of awkwardness, because if someone says something, you can just start like teasing them about it, and it stops being like, oh, someone, you know, was talking about an insecurity, or like, oh, someone had sort of a bad thing happen today. You convert that into something that, you know, people can be happy about. One of my best friends, he hates saying hi to people when he passes them by, and you know, I've had to talk to him and be like, okay, like you need to say hi to like our mutual friend because they're getting hurt by you. Sometimes though, he doesn't even say hi to me, and you know, that is awkward. Like some people would perceive that as awkward, but because he doesn't care and is confident, like someone exterior who's always confident, no one cares. And so just like come across as confident, just posture, stand up straight, like non-shifty eyes, just like be you. And if you're just yourself, then no one cares. The opposite of this, one of the things as a small group leader, like for a Bible study, that I had to get over really fast is feeling so awkward when you ask a question and then you have to wait about 15 seconds. That's kind of my rule for someone to say something. So don't just, you know, no one saying anything and like break the silence. Like you need to just wait for someone to think and talk. That is an exception. It's something really important where you shouldn't just fill the silence, but you should wait for people to think and respond. Some people who are more introverted, it takes them longer to process things, and they want to just like process things internally in their mind before speaking. I'm someone who just, I talk out loud. Like I don't think before I speak, I just start talking. Other people are not like that. And so I've learned with friends and stuff who need to think, they'll just like look away and be thinking, and that's not awkward. Like as sort of I'm an ambivert, like I'm extrovert and introvert, but like as more of the extrovert side of me, I hate having to wait for them to finish, but you need to do that for certain people. Anyway, so if you're someone who is a really deep thinker, you need to think before you talk, just tell the other person like, wait, I need to think. And sometimes I say that to people too, and I don't stare at them. I look away or I look down and I think. And so just communicate that to someone. If you're, you know, friends with them, just be like, wait, like I need to think about this more. Like, let me think. Like, let's not talk for a second. Another thing is to think out loud. This is something else that my friend Kyle does. He's just like the least awkward person. He's a really good example for this. If we're discussing philosophy and I say something, instead of just like him trying to think about it, he talks out loud what he's thinking. So he's like, okay, so you're saying this, and I think it relates to this. So from that, and you piece together what you're thinking out loud. And so I think that's more comfortable for everyone, and I think maybe if you get in the habit of doing that, it will eliminate a lot of awkward situations. Everyone is thinking things in their head, analyzing things, and if you just start talking out loud when you feel something getting awkward, that will completely eliminate it. A lot of people, when they see me, they comment on my phone case, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen my phone case. Let me get it out. It's kind of bedazzled and a lot of it has fallen out because I always drop my phone. And so people, when they see it, they always react to it. And of course, they probably just want to react to it. But because they're talking about, they're observing something and emotionally reacting to it, you know, it's a conversation in itself, and it just immediately, you know, it diffuses any awkwardness. If we don't know each other, it starts up a conversation. And I'm someone who, you know, I just naturally react to things. Like I laugh, I smile, I have judgmental faces, and it's just like, it's very like lively and so animated or whatever, so people can like react to that. And if you're not someone naturally like that, you know, it's totally fine. Like you can use any of these other techniques. But what you can do, even if you don't want to develop facial expressions or like enunciations in your voice, just comment on anything. We're constantly observing things, we're judging things, we're analyzing things, we're passing by something is weird, something is beautiful, something is confusing, and just verbalize that out loud for everyone else to hear, and it'll create a fun dialogue. Something else that I always do if I know someone is coming over to like my apartment who I don't know very well, or like a car ride, I always make a music playlist ahead of time, and I have that playing in the background, and it's a lot better than just dead silence. You all experience this whenever you're in a car, there's music playing, and of course like it's fun to have music, but also it's like if you're carpooling with people for 2 hours who you don't know very well, it's a lot better than being forced to talk. And so I take that concept and I apply it to, you know, in actual life, like playing music. And if you're really close friends with people, none of this applies. You know, you don't have to have music playing. You can just have long, you know, silences. You can be next to each other doing your own thing in a car, not talking, and it's not awkward. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you want to watch more of my videos, because I have been uploading so many lately, like every 4 days or something, go to my channel page because I have spent a lot of time grouping them into different playlists depending on the topic, like advice for girls, Christian videos, etc. And so if you go on my channel page, then that will really help you find videos that you might want to watch. Make sure to comment below any more tips you have for me and other people on diffusing awkwardness in our lives, and I love you all so much. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!